Morning everybody, it's Claire here from Sewn by Claire, and this morning I've got another ready to wear alteration for you. I'm wearing this dress here just to demonstrate the point that I want to make. It's got this nice wide boat neckline, but it's designed for somebody with wider shoulders than me. So it should really sit out here. It's about 1 inch too wide here on the neckline. And what I've done is I've put on a pale coloured bra so that you can see that there's quite a lot of movement with this neckline when I'm wearing it. It's open at the back with a cowl, and so the problem I have is that this is sliding when I'm wearing it. So I've tried just moving around in it. This would also, alteration would also work if you'd got a V-fronted dress as well. So if you've got a V front and a V back and it's a bit looser on the top and your shoulders keep slipping off like this as you're wearing it. And what we're going to do is we're going to add something called lingerie straps into the dress. And what we do is we put in some ribbon and poppers underneath here, and actually it then holds onto bra strap. I'm just going to pop this quick video in. I'm showing you what after it's done, so you don't have to watch the whole of the end of the video in order to see how it looks when it's finished. So this is my dress now. If you see there, you've got the lingerie strap holding on to my bra strap, and that just keeps everything nicely in place. There's no matter where I move or dance or hug or what have you, then my dress is not going anywhere, regardless of what colour bra I've got with it. So I'll now go into the video how to do this, but I just thought I'd just pop you a quick picture in of how it looks when it's done, just so that hopefully that's helpful and shows how secure it can be. So that the dress is then anchored at those 2 points. Sorry, I keep looking at myself in the picture, sorry, I'll try and remember to talk to you. So it anchors itself onto the bra strap. Obviously when I'm wearing this dress I'm going to wear a dark coloured bra underneath it, just so that you don't see it, but I thought that being as I got to make this alteration to this dress anyway, it might affect some of you, and it might be of interest. So if that's the case, then what you're going to need, in the best Blue Peter fashion, is some ribbon. I've chosen this navy ribbon here, which I think is pretty good match. You're not going to see it. The idea is that you don't see it underneath your dress, and you just need enough to do about 4 inches worth. We need about a couple of inches either side. The other thing you're going to need is some of these. I don't know what they're called in the States, if you're in the States, but in the UK we call these press studs, and they're let me demonstrate on this bigger one because that's a bit easier for you to see, isn't it? I've had this one for years and years. And these are a bit big for using, but it does give you just an idea. So they come in 2 parts like this. So you've got a male and a female, as they say, and they just clip in together like that. So what we'll do is we'll put one piece onto one piece of the ribbon and one onto the other, and then we'll feed it underneath the strap, and then when we clip it together on the ribbon it'll hold it tight enough. I mean, it's not a permanent, it's not supposed to be permanent. The other thing that you can use is if you've got some little like cam snaps, you could also use that if you wanted to, but I find that these actually sit quite nice and thin. You really want something that's not going to show any bulk at all on that part of your part of your dress when it's underneath. So I'll take my dress off, I'll get changed so that I can start and sew on it, and I'll come back to you and I'll show you what we're going to do. Hopefully it's helpful to somebody, I never know. Okay, so what I've got here is we've got 2 pieces of ribbon, and these pieces of ribbon are, I mean, it depends on how wide your strap is, but this is just over 4 inches. If I hold that up to the strap that we're working with, and this is the middle of our strap at the top of our shoulder, at this part here, and what I want is I want enough to go side to side with a bit extra, because what I want to do with this is, because the snaps are quite small, I want to fold that over twice on the edge, once and then twice, to give myself a little bit of like a tab to hold onto the snap, and I'll do that on both sides, because what's going to happen is we're going to do that on both sides, and then we're going to fold it in half like that. So 1/2 to the garment and leave 1/2 loose, and then we can tuck 1/2 underneath the bra strap to then put back on again. So what I've done is I've just put a little bit of fray check on the ends. This is Prim fray check that I use. Works very nicely. It's just a liquid. Be careful, because sometimes it has a dropper top in the top, and like this one, look, the dropper top's got stuck in there. So just be careful when you're using it that you get your top out of the out of the plastic top when you open it, and you just put a little bit on there. It's a bit liquid like super glue, but what it does is when it dries, it just then creates this this clean edge that you can to cut off any frays, and then you've got it nice and clean. It'll stop it from unravelling once you've gone to all the trouble of putting it into your dress. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use our snaps. I checked on the back of these are actually 5mm snaps, so I wouldn't really go any smaller than that, because you've got to be able to fiddle with it when you're trying to put it on under your dress, and it believe me, it can get a bit fiddly. So I'd say that was the smallest that that I'd suggest you use, and use bigger ones if you can do. Any brand is fine, as I say, and that's what we're going to do. So we've got our strap. We know that once we do our ends, we're going to then be able to fold one in and fold the other in, put a pin in that just to hold it for me. Oh, careful not to stab myself. And then do the other side as well. And obviously you're going to make two of these, one for each side of your dress, or your top, or your whatever it is. It's just useful to know how to make them, I think. You can buy them ready-made, but this way you get them coordinating on your dress. So that when it's actually in half like that, and we can put another pin in at the half mark, so we know where that is when we're sewing it into our dress. Then we want it wide enough to be able to go around your bra strap, but so that when you sew it into the centre of your dress like that, you can see that, then when you turn it over, you're not going to see it from the outside. So that's what we need. So just make sure that it's going to do that. Then when you've got to that stage, we're going to thread our needle. Put thread over the top of the needle, hold it with your thumb. 1, 2, 3 wraps. Hold it again with your finger over the thing and pull it down. You get a nice little neat knot on the end there. So I'm just going to snip off the end here. Don't need all of that. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew my snap on, because they're much easier to sew on whilst they're in this position here, once we've got them on the dress. So I'm going to just tuck my thread into the centre of my onto the thing. Remember, I've just folded this over twice and just pinned it. Put that in there, and then just work your way out to the edge of your ribbon, because you only need the ribbon, but just buries the knot in the middle. And then I'm just going to do a few over stitches down the edges of here, and that'll just hold on to the, got a knot in my thread already. Just 1 second. You put your needle through the loops if this happens to you, and then just pull on it. It starts to shift it, move the knot along, and then you should be able to just pull it out with your fingers. So all is not lost. Right, okay. And then again, let's do a couple more loops. I mean, these sorts of projects are fiddly just to be able to hand sew, but the more you do it, the more practice you get. Take the needle pin out because I think it's getting in my way. That thread there is just wrapped around. The other thing I do is I save my ribbons as well. I don't know if you do that or not. So I have a little packet in my sewing room, and if I get ribbons on chocolates or on perfume, if I'm lucky enough to get any gifts like that, or on towels or bedding sets, sometimes you get ribbons, then I just put them to one side and just save those, and it creates quite a little collection of ribbons that you can use then for little projects like this without having to take a length off your reel. But if you do need to do that, then do that. But yeah, always looking for materials we can have and save. Okay, so just to hold those folds down on the edge. So let me just show you that. Oh, dropped it. So if you can see, I've just folded it over twice, and then so the raw edge is tucked up inside there. We're always looking to try and get it really neat, and just a few stitches. It doesn't have to be particularly neat, so it's a great first project. Then the thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to put my needle up into the middle of the stitch pad there, because we're not going to break our thread off. So we're going to get one of our hooks and press studs, we call them. We might call them snaps. So I'm just going to use the nail bit. And I'm going to pop that on top of my little pad that I've made for it. And then I'm just going to go through Make sure your needle is big enough to go through. That was one thing I didn't check. And we're just going to put a few stitches through, going through both sides. I'm going through from the back, trying not to get my thread to jumble in, and then they've got holes in the top, so I'm just going through those holes. I want 3 or 4 stitches in each little hole, just to hold it. So I'll fast forward through this bit so that you can see what I'm doing, but not be bored senseless by watching me just sew through holes. Okay, so there's our little snap just secured on the end of our piece of ribbon. Hopefully that's going to focus for me. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that we sew it onto the other. So we're going to repeat the same process but with the other part of the snap, so that, but make sure that you're not sewing it on that way so that they do snap together when you've done them. So I'll just go and do that, and then I'll come back to you. And you're going to actually do this twice. You're going to make 2 of these straps like this. So let me go and sew the other one on this end, and then I'll come back to you and show you what I've done at the end. Okay, so I've now done both of my straps here. As you can see, they're both pretty much the same in length. Doesn't matter if they vary slightly, just as long as they'll fit onto your dress. I've marked the centre of one. The other thing that you've got to just make sure that at this stage that they still snap together and that they still stay together quite nicely. Make sure your stitching hasn't impaired any of their function at all. These are both good to go. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put it in half, and I tend to leave the flatter bit on the actual dress because that's in fact the male part, because I find it's easier to take this piece to that than it is the other way round. So easier to take what they call the female section with the indentation on it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a pin in just to hold this in place along that shoulder seam. And I'm just going to go through the lining. So we just need to go through the lining. We're not going through the outside of the dress, so you're not going to see it on the other side. And we just check again that when that's clipped together, that it's not going to be visible. Even if it flattens out a bit, it's not going to be visible from the other side. And I know that one's okay. So do that on that side, and then on the other side we're going to do the same. Now on these two I've put the folded edge towards the centre. Just give a thought as to whether you're left or right-handed as well, because that can, oh gosh, drop the pin. Because that also might affect how you actually like to close these. I'm right-handed, so I've just put these both with the loop to the centre of the neckline, and again just checking that one for size to make sure that it's hidden. And it is, so when I turn it over you won't see it, so that's just pinned onto the lining there, so that'll hold there. So then what we're going to do is open these out. Okay, so we just take our ribbon, our length thread, we've got our lingerie strap onto the dress. I've opened it up again, and now what I'm going to do is just take some little stitches, so bury the knot under, at the back, so we're not going to see that, we want to keep it nice and neat. And then what we're going to do is just take a few little stitches. I'm going mainly through the lining of this dress, but you could also go through the sewing on the shoulder seam if you needed to, if it's an unlined garment. So you just need a bit of the fabric where it's not going to go through and show onto the other side. So I'm just taking some little stitches down the side, just slip stitching it down. You can look up slip stitching and just take a little bite of the lining, then travel behind the ribbon and then just come up a few millimetres along. and I'm just going along the length of this tie. And what we want to do is when we get close towards the other end, oh, the thread is getting, let's take that pin out now because we have got it anchored down. Another knot in our thread. So I'm just lifting both bits up, it's obviously just tangling. Just pull on my ribbon on my thread with my needle in, and it's pulled that out, that's good. Okay, so we're going to travel along to the end of the ribbon. Apologies for that little knot. It happens sometimes. And then what we're going to do then is just make sure that when we fold this in half, we've not taken it too far, that when we fold that in half, that it's going to interfere with that stitch in there. So we just make sure that we're clear of our dress, and we are. So a couple more stitches here. So we know where we're stopping now, so we can open it up again. And then we're just going to do a couple of stitches along here. Just this fold line, if you like, for the ribbon, just to make it nice and neat. And then we're going to, you've guessed it, we're going to go back along the other side now, just to anchor that side down. So we're nearly done, folks. What I'll do is I'll just pop the dress back on again, and I'll show you how it fits afterwards, because I think you'll find that for a little bit of time and effort, it does actually make a huge difference. Let me just get this bit finished off for you. Well, it's for me really, I suppose, isn't it? But hopefully it's helpful to someone. That's what I think with all of my videos. When I'm just doing these little bits and bobs, then if you don't know how to do it, sometimes some people might think that they're too simple to be bothered with. But if you don't know how to do it, or you've not seen it before, then it can be a bit of a game changer. Okay, so a few stitches there. Snip it off close to the fabric, and there we've got our lingerie strap. So just pop that in there, that clips on there, and that there is where your bra strap is going to fit through there and hold it tight for you. Okay, so let me just pop this on for you, and I'll be able to show you it in action. Okay, so I've just put my dress on again, and you can see my lingerie straps are just hanging out the sides at the moment, and all I do is lift up the edge of my dress, and I've got my bra strap just tucked underneath there. Just fold it over, and then you feel for the snap. There it is. So that goes over the top of my bra strap like that. Oh, no it doesn't. Hasn't gone on. Oh, come on. There you go. So that goes on like that. And then just turn it over and just adjust it, just so that I'm happy. And then I'll do the same with this one here. So hold the strap up. I've threaded the ribbon underneath my bra strap and then clipped it too. So now you can see there's no movement of that. The dress goes wherever my bra straps are sitting. As you can see, there's nothing showing on the cowl either. Oh, I've got labels showing. There's nothing showing on the cowl there, and that I can wear that dress all day and they're not going to go anywhere. The only thing that might happen is they might just come unclipped occasionally. Depends on how strong the clip is on your actual poppers, but have a play around with those, and you'll find a brand or a position that suits you. So that's what I just wanted to show you. I hope that's useful to somebody. I'm going to be wearing this dress to my stepson's wedding, so I wanted to make sure that it was all in place, and I'm just making the jacket at the back here as well, which is just going to sit over the top. So you never know, I might be able to pop some pictures. If you follow Instagram, then I'll pop a picture up of me wearing my jacket and my dress for that when the time comes. That's early April. But until then, I hope you all have a great day, and wherever you are in the world, and I hope this little tip has been useful for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.